Yo, 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 welcome back to the No Cut Sports Podcast with your host, Niall Frazier. And today we got a few things to talk about, but before we get started, could you please like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe, man. Y'all already know. So I got a few things, we need to talk about. But before I get started, I want to say tomorrow will be the 1 year anniversary of the No Cut Sports Podcast. I want to send my thanks and my appreciation out to all my subscribers, all the people that view the channel, watch the videos, comment, you like, whatever the case may be. Even if you didn't subscribe, you ain't like what I put out there, I do appreciate the view. But I just want to give my thanks and appreciation to all my subscribers. I appreciate y'all rocking with me this far, and stay tuned. I'm also thinking about doing another giveaway too. I know I just did one, but probably closer to when I get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm kind of closing in on 500 subscribers right now. So, just keep, if you like what you see, keep subscribing, keep doing your thing, and just stay locked in with me. So I appreciate that. And I also wanted to say, too, if it's something that you want to do in life, don't hesitate, don't wait. You never know when your clock going to get punched out here. So if it's something that's on your mind or on your heart, make sure you get that done. Make sure you put, you start putting some effort toward that. So with that being said, man, let's get into what we need to talk about today. I got a couple of topics here that we need to get into. I don't know how I want to do this first, but I'll probably start with the Saquon Barkley thing, because I do got some other stuff down here too as well. But as y'all know, we've been talking about the Saquon Barkley Hard Knocks series, and following his journey from leaving the Giants and becoming a Philadelphia Eagle. As I watched the whole show yesterday. And I just got done watching it just a little bit ago before I got on here, just to make sure I ain't missing anything. But it knocks.
Saquon Barkley has turned down several different offers.
I offered him today a 3-year deal at 12.5 APY and 25 guaranteed. He'd be a Giant. Philly's out. I don't know if that's true or not. Chicago's driving the price up, and Philly's out. I don't know if that's true or not. Which I don't know if I'll make a couple calls. I don't even know if that's gonna happen, but.
I'm going to have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia, I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being honest. I've been around enough players. But he's the most popular player we have by far.
Yeah. It comes to my attention that the Giants never even offered Saquon a deal after, he went out there, or Joe Sheen told him he can go out there, seek another deal in free agency. It seemed to be the whole time I was watching the show, and I don't know Joe from a can of paint, man. I can just give my opinion on what I see. It just seemed like he thought he was like, to me it's just embarrassing, because it's nice to see that you get a background look and view on these teams and how they operate during a free agency and in the draft as well. But it just seemed like the confidence, I'm late when I do apologize, but it just seemed like he was just overly confident in what he believed. I feel like emotions played into his decision of not bringing Saquon back because of, and he talked about it. He talked about how when they tried to do the deal last year, it was all this stuff, and it took 10 years off his life and things like that. So I just felt like that played a big part into the decision making on Joe's part. You can see that the owner, and then when I play the clip, you'll see it in there. But you can see that the owner said he wouldn't get any sleep at night if Saquon goes to the Eagles. So it look like my man ain't gonna be sleeping for a long time, because he about 2 years. So it is what it is, man. But like I said, I just think Joe just gets a little bit ahead of himself. Hopefully, and shout out to Miss Candy and all that, because she did remind me of this. But it's like the same scenario situation that A.J. Brown went through when Howie picked him up from the Tennessee Titans. I think shortly after that, their GM ended up getting fired. Because I don't think they wanted to part ways too, and I feel like this is going to be the same scenario for Joe Sheen. I just don't, like I said, I ain't trying to talk bad about him, but from what I'm gathering, it's just like this dude is like I don't know what he was thinking, because my thing is he talked about bringing in Singletary, which I'm not trying to downplay his gameplay on the field or anything like that, but we all know that he's not a Saquon Barkley, and there's not a lot of Saquon Barkleys out there, and that's what the owner. Joe, I think his name is, or Ramon or something like that. I can't remember his name, but that's what he was pretty much getting at, trying to explain to Joe Sheen. So he was like, talent wise, he's probably our most talented player on this team. So with that being said, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Joe, but this might be his last show, to be honest with you. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm just happy to have Saquon Barkley on the team. I do think Saquon, I think he retweeted something along the lines after this episode had came out, and talking about, he got a chip on the shoulder pretty much. So I'm expecting a big season from Saquon. I know I already done talked about it on here with him, his impact to our offense. He's never had an offensive line or a team this good around him. So hopefully, and that's what I'm thinking, man. A deep run to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, and I'm hoping it's the Super Bowl. So with that being said, man, let's move on to the next topic. Now we're going to talk about Nick Sirianni, and he did a interview with SI Magazine. I'm not going to read all the different, because it's a lot to read, but I just took some notes from it. But the first thing I have here is that Nick Sirianni talked about not overcorrecting, but rather evolving offense. And I know, and I'll say this, with the end of last season, right? I know it looked crazy, and I'm trying to give Nick Sirianni the benefit of the doubt, but it's like when I'm reading this stuff, it's like he says one thing and he contradicts himself. And I understand, he might feel a certain way being the head coach, but as y'all seen reports, and we talked about it on here, he had to give up the offense to Kellen Moore. He said the reason why he brought Kellen Moore in here was because he said he wanted to be selfless enough to hand the play calling over to somebody else that was a little bit more experienced, but do what was best for the team. We always hear Jalen Hurts talk about being selflessness and talking about the team aspect, and this is what kind of makes me kind of weary about Nick Sirianni, because it's like he says one thing and, like I said, he'll contradict himself. Because I feel as though him still bringing Kellen Moore in here, he still talked about, of course, what he wants to see. But I'm feeling like he's gonna get to a point, if it gets to be, too good or whatever it could be, that he wants to implement his stuff in there, and I feel like that's gonna be a little clash. So that might be something we have to look out for between Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni. Like I said, I'm trying to give him the benefit of doubt, but it just seems to be the ego part is getting to him. So hopefully he can take this step back and let Kellen Moore do his job. Kellen Moore has been pretty decent with the offensive play calling, especially for the Dallas Cowboys. That's the biggest sample size that I have to look at. But I can't really look too much about what happened with the Chargers because they were losing players and things like that. But like I said before, Keenan Allen, being an older player, had his best season under Kellen Moore. And I'm expecting, I'm sorry, I keep sniffing. I got allergies, so. But I'm expecting to see the same thing with Smitty and A.J. Brown. So some other things he said here too were that he talks about being in Philly and having to win enough to secure his head coaching job. As you all know, man, Philadelphia is a hard place to play for a lot of players and coaches as well. So us as fans, we expect a certain standard. We expect to win. We're expecting to go to the Super Bowl this year. As crazy as it sounds, we're expecting to be in the Super Bowl. And we also expect, for Nick Sirianni to allow these coaches to coach. He also talked about training camp. He thought the training camp wasn't a problem last season for them stalling out where they stalled out. I disagree. If you remember, I talked about Vic Fangio saying he would like to do 2-a-days or if not harder practices because he feels like that's the best way to, when you're implementing a new defense or trying to learn something new, that's the best way to grasp the concepts. And it seems to be that Nick Sirianni doesn't really believe in that. He likes to have, laid back practices, which, I guess is all good and dandy here and there. But when I was coming up, when I was playing basketball, when I was in track, when I was doing my sports, they had 2-a-days. You know what I'm saying? You wake up in the morning, you go home for the afternoon, you come back. You know what I mean? So that's the era I grew up in, and I'm thinking, Nick Sirianni's older than me, so I'm thinking it'd be the same type of way. Even in high school, I didn't play football in high school, but they had 2-a-days, if not 3-a-days, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to the Trojans, you already know, but they had 2-a-day, 3-day practices. So you would, in the morning, you go home for a little bit, you come back, you know what I'm saying, do your thing, and then you leave. So it is what it is, man. But I feel as though that might be a problem. We already had Cindy Brown come out talking about how weak the practices are, if I'm not mistaken, I think Baldy said you can go have a full-time job and still be a Philadelphia Eagle, which is crazy to say, but that's what they seem to think. So I think that might also be a problem. I don't want to see nobody get hurt in training camp, but at the same time, they gotta implement this new offense, and then you kind of implementing the defense. Even though they ran the same defense, Vic Fangio's the architect. He might want something different than what previous like Sean Desai and Jonathan Gannon implemented. So there's going to be some things that they got to learn. Training camp starts on Tuesday. It's not a lot of time, especially on that offensive side, to implement the different concepts and stuff like that. So they're trying to squeeze all this in a limited amount of time. And I do think that Jalen Hurts and the team can grasp it. And I'm still expecting to see not a slow start, but a decent start to the beginning of the season. But I can understand if things don't look the way we want them to look in the first week or two. But I do expect them to at least try to pull out these wins. Nick Sirianni also talked about starting 5-0, which I hope that's the case. That'd be great for us, especially like I said, implement a new offense and getting two different coordinators on both sides of the ball, new coordinators. I would like to see what that looks like. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be looking for, especially with training camp starting next week. Excuse me. And especially with the rookies as well. The rookies and the free agents, that's what I'm really looking at. I'm looking forward, to see how they perform, see how they do. So, but the last thing I have here for him, and he also talked about seeing things from a 30,000-foot view. He said, he got a coach for the special teams, he got a coach for the defense, and he got a coach for the offense. He talked about still getting his message across and the details that he wants to see and things that he expects from the team. So that's pretty much what Nick Sirianni's job is, man. He's probably just going to sit back and just look at stuff because, honestly, these coaches know how to coach. Like Vic Fangio's been coaching for 40 years. Kellen Moore has been in the offensive coordinator position for like at least the last 5 to 6 years, and he also played in his league. Dad was a coach, so I think the both of those guys will be fine. I just think it's going to be a power dynamic because Nick Sirianni, honestly, is on a hot seat this season. If the season goes well, maybe he'll be here for another year. But depending on what they want to do, I don't see why they don't move Kellen Moore. Because if Kellen Moore's offense is what they say it is, or if it looks like remotely anything better, I can see them moving on from Nick Sirianni and making Kellen Moore the head coach. I said this before multiple times. They had brought him in previously for a head coaching job. He spoke about it a little bit during his press conference. He said he liked the process. He said he liked, the owner and Howie and all that good stuff. So it could be a strong possibility that Kellen Moore could be the Philadelphia Eagles head coach going into 2025. If not, maybe this season if something goes wrong. So with that being said, man, let's go to our next topic that we have to just keep talking about, which is getting on my nerves. But I'm not even going to lie to y'all, man. This is getting on my nerves. They keep talking about Jalen Hurts, which is I understand, but they left Jalen Hurts off the top 10 quarterbacks in the league, right? So I got this clip that I'll play here.
I truly believe, because I think this is highway robbery with Jalen Hurts not being on this list. And y'all know I'm a Packer through and through in the way I feel about Jordan Love. Brock Purdy's a really good player, but this is an all-pro quarterback that has been to a Super Bowl and helped his team get to a Super Bowl. So from that standpoint, I think it's highway robbery, and that's why I don't think they looked into it like you looked into it. Okay. I think they turned the tape on, and they said at the quarterback spot, throwing this football, getting this ball out of their hand, making everybody around them better, these are the 5 quarterbacks that have been doing that. That's what I think this list is saying. So that's why I asked you, with them turning the tape on and watching this, I believe they left Jalen Hurts off the list for that reason. And that's why I stood up here and said that Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts when you take out the read option and you take out winning, even though Dak wins too, but he ain't been to a Super Bowl. Because he does not look like those dudes standing in the pocket throwing this ball when you're playing the quarterback spot.
So some of the things that they talked about, and I know James Jones ain't probably the best person to listen to because he recently came out and said that Dak or Jalen doesn't do anything better than Dak, which I don't agree with. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I just think leaving him off the top 10 list. Let me make sure I pull this up. So I'm gonna read this to y'all, and I'll put this up in the I'll put this up there on the screen for you. But this is the top 10 list that they have, right? So the first player, of course, is Patrick Mahomes, which I do not disagree with. But number 2, Joe Burrow, I disagree with. Number 3, Josh Allen, I disagree with. 4, Lamar Jackson, I will put him up there a little bit. 5 is Matthew Stafford. I'm okay with that. 6 is Justin Herbert. Get him off the list. 7, C.J. Stroud. He's going into his second year. He had a good first year, but I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. Not yet, at least, right? Aaron Rodgers, I can see why he's on there, but he didn't play last year. Jared Goff, I can understand Jared Goff being on there, and Dak Prescott. Crazy as it may seem, I do understand why Dak Prescott's on there, but he hasn't really done anything. Now, with that being said, I don't know if I think I might have said in one of my recent videos, I can't remember, but Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts have comparable stats, if not better. I think Jalen Hurts has like one more extra touchdown or something like that, and maybe a couple more passing yards. So nothing too crazy. But if you're asking me who I would take, would it be Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts? My humble opinion is Jalen Hurts. Joe Burrow's always injured. They paid him. He can't play a full season. So my thing is this: I don't care how good of a pocket presence he got. I don't care what players are on his team. The best ability is availability. If he's always missing games and he's always hurt, and then I was watching something where he was like trying to throw the ball. You know, I know he had that injury and things like that. Just didn't look confident, and I know he's going into training camp if they ain't already started yet. But to me, it's just he still has some more to prove. Just with just being out there on the field. Not, you know, I know he went to a Super Bowl. Same thing with Jalen Hurts, didn't win, but I don't feel like he should be ranked that high. Number 3 is Josh Allen. With all due respect, if you've been following me on here, my very first video, I said that Josh Allen is not like that. For them to always put Josh Allen as high caliber quarterback, I mean, I know he can't get past Patrick Mahomes, but I seen what Jalen Hurts did. Mind you, they didn't, and I'm gonna tell you why they didn't put him on the list. I'm gonna read that to you too. But if you sit there and you watch that Bills game, we do not win that game, especially without Jake Elliott making that field goal. That was amazing within itself. But then Jalen Hurts playing the way that he played, you know what I'm saying? With the bump, they said he was injured most of the year, things like that. But he really put the team on his back to win that game. But Josh Allen, if he's so good, you tell me why Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis both left that team. If he's a superior quarterback, why would they leave the team? With all due respect, it makes no sense. So I don't know. I ain't gonna sit there and get all crazy with it. And then Justin Herbert, like I said, with all due respect, man, no, I haven't seen enough yet. He's another person always injured. So to leave Jalen Hurts off this list is crazy. So I'm gonna read what they said about Jalen Hurts. It says after year 3, star turns that guarantee. Wait, I'm so sorry. After year 3, star turned that garnered a Super Bowl appearance in a $255 million contract. Hurts play dipped in 2023. His QBR ranking fell from 4th, 68.3 to 12th, 60.1. It goes on to say his 15 interceptions were so uncharacteristic that total nearly matched that of the first 3 years combined, 18. A knee injury that he tried his best to manage clearly affected him, according to several evaluators. He was playing hurt, an NFC exec said. The Eagles tried to downplay that, but he didn't look right. He wasn't the same runner he was in the past, and passing the ball was tough for him. Added an AFC scout, which was like whatever. And he'll always be in the 7 to 12 range, depending on how productive he is each year. So that's what they ended up saying about Jalen Hurts. Okay, and like I said, I understand he played with a knee injury. I understand he got hurt, things like that. But to sit here and say all that, y'all said all this. So why is Joe Burrow up there? He didn't play too crazy last year. I think he was out most of the season. So it just doesn't really make sense to me, man. I just feel as though like it's a target on our back. They see how stacked this team is. They want to sit here and say what they want to say. And everybody's entitled to their opinion, but at the same time, to sit there and leave an all-pro quarterback off the list that was just 1 year removed from being in the Super Bowl, to me, is crazy. I think, like I said, I think Jalen does have some things he needs to work on. Don't get me wrong. I do think he was injured last year with his knee, but to say his performance dipped, I can't fully agree with that, because my thing is this: if you put Josh Allen up there, Josh Allen threw more interceptions than Jalen Hurts. And so did Patrick Mahomes. The only reason why we're not talking about Patrick Mahomes is because they won the Super Bowl. But my thing is, when they rank Josh Allen every year, he has like bad performances. He has a lot of interceptions. My thing is, he's so good. Why is his teammates leaving him? So to me, it's just, you know, they pick and choose what they want to say about certain people, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, but you got to be realistic about what you're actually seeing. Excuse me. Jalen Hurts is, you know, to me, like I said, and I'm not trying to be biased, but you can't name me 10 other quarterbacks that are better than Jalen. You know what I'm saying? That are better than Jalen Hurts. He should be in the top 10. Some of these people don't even belong in the top 10. So I just think with Jalen Hurts, man, like he talked about it before. He never gets too high, never gets too low. I just think it's just, you know, they're just hating on him, man. They see what he can do. They see the type of dynamic he brings to the offense. And, you know, it might be hard for other NFL execs or teams to see because they, you know, you want a pocket present quarterback. But even with that, like I said, with Joe Burrow, pocket presence. But my thing is this: he doesn't scramble a lot. So now he's injured or injury prone. He paid the man. That's what you got. I'd rather have somebody like and I don't even think, I'll put it to you like this. I think Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson. Regardless of the two MVPs, you're not sitting here telling me that Lamar Jackson do anything crazier than Jalen Hurts, all due respect. Because MVPs is cool, but winning the Super Bowl is better. And if Jalen Hurts can wield us to another Super Bowl, I'm cool with that. I'm fine with that. So I think the chips on a lot of these players' shoulders. Talking about Jalen Hurts, Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, a lot of the players on the team. You got to think Devin White coming here. You know, they didn't want to pay him, things like that. So there's some players on this team that, you know, got a chip on their shoulder and they want to prove the NFL wrong. Fans too as well. So with that being said, let's move on to our next topic, and that is Lane Johnson on Kellen Moore. He had a clip. And he talked about Kellen bringing a dynamic offense to the team, and that his offense puts up a lot of points over the years, which is something that we need to be seeing, especially with the type of offensive weapons that we have. Like I said before, I think Kellen Moore's going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups for some of our best players. The tight ends, like I said, he likes to implement those 2 tight end sets. I'm expecting to see Dallas's numbers go up. But then also my man Albert O. Now, we really didn't get a chance to talk about Albert O too much on this channel, but I do think Albert O is a very athletic tight end. A little bit different than Dallas Goedert, but at the same time, I think he can be effective in this offense. And really didn't get to see, you know, his potential last year. I know they played him a few snaps, but I would like to see Kellen Moore utilize the tight end. I know that's something that he likes to utilize in his game and things like that. But then also with his offense, I want to see, you know, I know we like these explosive plays, but I want to see that run. I want to see, you know, Saquon or whoever else they got back there in the running back room, even if it ain't a lot of yards, you know, per carry. But I want to see them run this year because that's going to open up the offense for these explosive plays. But honestly, you don't really need it, man. You just need to be worried about working the ball down the field. Like Tom Brady's check down king, man. He won a lot of championships just checking the ball down because you just want to move the chains. Just move the chains. That's all you got to worry about. Until you see something that, you know, you can throw a deep ball, which I'm never worried about with Jalen Hurts. He's pretty accurate with that. But you want to you know, dump off to your running back or just check down to whoever's there. So he also goes on to say that he has the right mind, and it was on display in OTAs. He says you can feel this guy knows what he's doing. So now I don't know, and I also want to say this. I don't know exactly, and I hope I'm not wrong by saying this. Lane Johnson has been the only person that's been really talking about this past offseason. Now, I talked about Thomas Mott and Josh. You know, they've been having different players from the Eagles on their shows, so shout out to those guys too. And they've been, but it seems to be that Lane Johnson has been the spokesperson for the Philadelphia Eagles, talking about Jalen Hurts and what went wrong last year. And now that I'm talking about this, it makes me think because Lane Johnson, they had asked Lane Johnson, right? And I think it was in one of my videos. They had asked Lane Johnson if the problem was because he had came out and said it was the coaching, and then either it was Richard Eisen, asks him, well, is the problem out of the building? And then Lane responds, we'll see. So that's what makes me think that they got rid of the coordinators. The only other person that I can think of that he can possibly be talking about is Nick Sirianni. My thing is this: if Nick Sirianni is going to be trying to still oversee and put his hands in the cookie jar, I'm sorry, he might have to either go or be moved somewhere else so he doesn't affect the tempo of the gameplay of this season. Because every time, 2021 and in this past season, when he has had control of the offense, it's been like this. All due respect, I don't need to see this a third time. If it's Kellen Moore that's going to come in here bringing his own offense, then let him bring his own offense in here. Let Jalen tell him what he wants to, what plays he wants to use, what plays benefit him the best. But then also you need to be trying to push Jalen to be a better player, which he also wants as well. He talked about not, he likes to be coached hard, and because he wants to be better. So my thing is this: if Nick Sirianni is interfering with that, then I'm gonna have a problem with that. All due respect, because we've seen this last year, and I'm not trying to see this another year. I'm tired of us wasting the talent that we have on this team. I understand we passed this water under the bridge for this past season, but this season it has to happen. At least get close, but it has to happen. I need to see something a little bit better than what I saw last year. So shout out to Lane Johnson for giving us that little insight on Kellen Moore. Like I said, it should be a decent season as long as everything goes well. But if it doesn't, I can see a transition happening with that coaching situation. So moving on to our next topic is that Jalen Carter is the only player in his second year to be put on PFF's top 50, which I already understood. So you already know that's that guy's different. And he landed at number 41, which I mean I'm cool with that. Just him even being on the list as a second year player is great. So, but he landed at 41, and I had posted it on my Instagram story. And if you ain't following me on Instagram, make sure you hop on there and you do that. But he ended up liking the post. So shout out to Jalen Carter, man. I'm really trying to work on, man. Listen, I'm trying to work on getting this man on this show. So hopefully we can do that. But also I just expect a big year from Jalen Carter. I've been seeing him post videos of him working out, things like that. He looks like he's getting really into shape. He's starting to look like an Aaron Donald almost. So hopefully, man, it's just that transition to the field. Vic Fangio and Clint Hurt get these guys going, especially with him and Jordan Davis. I think they're going to be very effective this year, but they need to be effective for this pass rush because, like I said before, it just wasn't getting home last year. So shout out to Jalen Carter, man, and good luck to you on the season. Next and lastly, I have really doesn't pertain to us, but the Brandon Aiyuk thing had came out where he has asked for a trade. Now I've seen that the Raiders are interested in trading Devontae Adams straight up for Brandon Aiyuk. Now that would be crazy if that happens, but there are some other suitors that also have come up, and we've talked about this before, but maybe the Steelers or maybe the Commanders going to go play with Jaden Daniels because they have a relationship. I don't know how this is going to affect the 49ers, but it's not going to be good because if you remember last year, and that just depends on how the draftees pan out, because he did end up drafting a wide receiver or two wide receivers if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know how it's going to pan out for him because I know when we seen either Debo or one of the guys, one of the offensive weapons missing, the game got harder for Brock Purdy. So who knows how this is going to play out. I'll probably follow it on this channel because it ain't too much information coming out until probably next Tuesday when camp starts and we start hearing what the reporters saying about what they're seeing and things like that. But with that being said, man, I don't want to hold y'all up too much longer. Like I said, I do appreciate everybody that's been watching and liking and commenting, subscribing to the channel. Like I said, we're approaching 1 year tomorrow. I appreciate everybody that's been rocking with me so far. It's been a little journey, man, but I really do appreciate it, man. I've been making some relationships with different people. Some of the bigger content creators been, they comment on my channels and stuff like that, which I didn't even think they would see my channel. I'm small to compared to some of them guys. But shout out to Joey Shakes, man. He commented on my last video. Him, Philly 500. Shout out to Mr. Reggie, DV, Smitty, Eagle Al, Philly Mike, LB, on the road to victory with Jimmy Smith. All those guys, man. So shout out to them. It's just I just appreciate being in the same talks as these guys. So with that being said, man, if you like what you hear, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'm probably going to have another video coming out for you maybe sometime this weekend, or if any other news drops, because I don't really want to keep repeating myself. So with that being said, man, it's Now from the No Cut Sports Podcast. I appreciate everybody. Please, if you could, like, comment, and subscribe to always catch this vibe. And y'all already know, go Birds. I'm going to holler at y'all, and y'all be safe.